Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Super excited to be here with you on this beautiful, amazing, and wonderful Sunday morning. And as you saw in the title, housing market, smart or stupid? Yes, I am offensive. I understand. I just don't have the inclination to, I don't know, soft talk it. It just is what it is. And so what I wanted to talk about today, just kind of in a brief opening, was smart or stupid. And so here's what I will say. So there's all the crash bros that are out there talking about crash, 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 crash. And then they reference one sheet. They have no ability to articulate how that correlates to all of the other figures that we're seeing. They usually have no ability to certainly talk about if it's causation for the next leg down. And so what I wanted to do in the opening monologue was just have you guys understand that I think it's really, really, really important that as investors, you stay in the game every single day, understanding and doing your work, because so often what these guys refer to in the charts over here or up here is a bunch of poo, because it's not about your market specifically. And 99% of the time, there's over 400 markets in the US. And so when people sit there and they get all giddy about the fact that they think there's a crash coming, like, honest to goodness, you guys got to do your work. You guys got to do your own homework. And so one of my favorite movies is Wall Street. I'm sure it comes as a shock, but there's literally a part where Marv, one of the characters, tells Charlie Sheen's character, Bud Fox, or the other way around, excuse me. He's sitting there tapping on his desk going, "What's the news? What's the news? What do you got for me? What do you got for me?" And finally, Bud Fox is just like, "Enough, do your own homework, Marv." And that's where I come into play on this stuff. I watch an inordinate amount of information. I watch an inordinate amount of content. And that's how I'm able to surmise when we do these Sunday shows, what exactly I'm thinking and where I see things going. But the other critical component of this is that no one should be a better all-star in your market than you. Does it really matter what's happening in Las Vegas? Does it really matter what's happening only if you're trying to buy there? Does it really happen what's going on in Phoenix? Only if you're trying to buy there. A Phoenix deal has less than nothing to do with a deal in New Hampshire on the seacoast. Nothing to do with it. Couldn't be further. They're completely unrelated. So the opportunity is there for us to be smart, not stupid. And when I say stupid, it's more the bad form of lazy, not Dion's kind of lazy, more the bad form of lazy, which is I'm letting everybody else go out there. I'm letting them do all the work. I'm letting them put together the chart and the graph because they want my click. And I'm so lazy, I'm willing to give them the penny to do that. At the end of the day, you guys really need to be doing your own work in your own market and seeing what your deals are doing. And yeah, Rob, I can only use the word poo because it ends up being a problem, because sometimes my kids are upstairs watching the live stream. Oh, and I have a 5, a 3, and a 1-year-old. The 1-year-old doesn't really mimic anything yet, but the 5 and the 3 certainly do. Little parrots. But anyway, I think that everyone needs to continue to do your work. It's important to generally understand kind of what's going on with the market, but your market is what matters. Your market is where you need the discipline. Your local meetups is where you need to be talking to other folks. The fact that I had a unit that took me a month to rent out doesn't make a hill of beans difference, quite frankly, to any of you, unless you're in my market. Now, I can give you the information so I can share with you, hey, this is exactly what happened, but here's exactly what happened. It's been freaking cold. It's been cold. And for those, for that 6 weeks or something, it hasn't rented out. 2 weeks I was gone on vacation. The other 2 weeks before that, it was Christmas and New Year's. Then 2 weeks after that, it was me trying to catch up on everything else. So I didn't have a whole lot of focus on it or spend any time on it. So what I want to do is I really just want to encourage you from the perspective of when you listen to national numbers, it's all anybody can really talk about. What you really need to be acutely focused on is your local numbers, your local deals, your local data. That's where it matters. I hear and I see complete imbeciles on Facebook post 77% down on refinances. Yeah. Have you picked up on the correlation of why? Year over year, last year, debt was 3.1%. This year it's 5.5. If you're lucky, probably 5.75. So what you're saying is that there's an 80% decline in refinances. Never would have guessed it. I mean, there should be lots of people trading in 3.1% debt for 5.5% debt. Oh, wait, no, they shouldn't be. I'm shocked that it's 77%. It should be down 100%. But there are people that might have gotten in at 6.5 or 7, and 5.5 they can get now, or maybe they can get some sort of an ARM product that might be 5 years or 7 years or 10 years. And so then I look at something like that and I say, okay, yeah, maybe those people, maybe they're in the 20%. But when you look at numbers like that, you need to understand the context of the number to then be able to figure out, does it correlate with the other data elements that I'm looking at to form my hypothesis or my opinion? Or is it even causation? Is it, hey, this is what caused that. I see that now the next leg is down. Now, I didn't freak out about our unit not renting out in a day or a week or 2 weeks or even a month. Didn't freak out about it. It was Christmas. Why would I freak out about a unit not renting at Christmas? They never have in the past. They probably never will in the future. And as soon as we hit February 1st, boom, big bump in activity. When we hit March, it's going to get nuts. And that's what we're starting to see. We're even starting to see it a little bit early. We had a unit that we posted that was 200 responses of garbage, pure garbage. Wouldn't rent to you if your tongue came notarized and you paid in wire in markered cash. It's just, what a yawn. And so it took time to get through all that stuff, and people don't listen. I literally have to put in the ad, if you don't include the things that I've requested, you can't have a showing. If you want me to give you a $0 application, then you're going to have to follow the rules for the $0 application. So hopefully that's encouraging to you guys. I think at the end of the day, like I said, smart or stupid. You're smart if you recognize everything is a piece of the puzzle. It's stupid to have everybody else always doing your work and you be taking all the news that's happening nationally to somehow directly correlate to what's going on in your local market. It couldn't be a worse way of doing it. I look at deals and I look at them and I evaluate them as the deal that they are. If they're going to return me 23%, do I look at it and go, yeah, but I just don't think now's the right time? No, it's going to return me 23% based on today's criteria. Maybe it goes down 3%. Okay, 20%. That's not a good deal anymore. Of course it is. So I would encourage you, make sure that you're taking the smart side of this, which is looking at your market daily, understanding what's going on in your market. You should likely have a subscription to a local newspaper. You need to know what's going on there. There's business in there where they talk about developments being done, or they talk about this one going on hold. There was one tiny home development that got approved 3 years ago in our town. 3 years ago. Do you think that guy's had cost overruns? Oh, you betcha. Oh, yeah. Can't get there from here. But he has cost overruns. There's no doubt in my mind. So everybody in the press that was lauding him for his approach, we'll see what it comes down to now. We'll see how much they're renting for now. We'll see, because they're still not done. They're still not done. They're still not live with those homes. Now, I'm not over this guy. I think he did an awesome thing. I want to do the same thing. But here's where the rubber's going to start to meet the road. Can he now afford to rent those out for what he thought he could, now that it's been a 3-year project, not a 10-month project? Anywho, thank you very much for the super chat. Hello, Matt. A lot better weekend than last one. Yeah, no kidding. It's been a great weekend. I worked a little bit yesterday, but it was much more like aligning of things. We had a number of showings on a couple of our units, and one of them is definitely locked up. And then the other one is, we're just waiting for another set of applications, or the rest of the applications of a group. It's all roommates. So anywho, yeah, it's a good time. So let me scroll up to the top here and get going. Dividend Dave, let's do this. Go, go, go. Landlording with the Lumberjack is always a touchdown. I appreciate that. I'll be here and there on the live stream going over my stuff with my handyman to get ready for my unit for Section 8 compliance. Here's the good news. Union Section 8 compliance in most towns, when they're walking with that compliance officer, just ask them, depending on what those items are, say, would it be all right if anything that needed to show that it was working or anything to show that it was installed, would it be all right if I took a picture of that and sent it to you? That was something that I've done for a decade with our code officers in town, something Dion recommended to do with Section 8. So I tried it. They're willing to do it as well, because as luck would have it, they're overwhelmed with work too. Mad76, good morning. Good morning. Jacob, good morning. Saw one was out yesterday. Thought I had missed the weekend. Very excited. Yeah. So every other weekend, Dion and I swap off, or every other week, Dion and I swap off Fridays. It's our time to get together and hang out and talk real estate and spend some time with you lovely folks. Laser Focus Solutions, happy to all. It's a big week for me. Took my home repair handyman business full time. Congratulations, Laser Focus Solutions. Now you report to everybody. It's the worst. I feel the same way as a landlord. Of the number of tenants I have, I report to everybody. Michelle Meyer, good morning, fiends. I'm not sure if that's friends or fiends, but either way, it works. Good morning, Michelle. Anna Kay, good morning, everyone. I made it on time. I got out of H game early last night, hockey game early last night. Very good. And Anna Kay, so this reminds me of something I wanted to cover real quick. For those of you in my course, we have struggled with the boot camp assignment piece. We have had a number of calls internally with the marketing group that handles it, as well as with the vendor. Tomorrow, I am on a call with them with the marketing vendor to extract my pound of flesh. So I apologize for the struggles that we've had in getting that scheduled. My expectation is it will be solved tomorrow. And if not, just so you know, I am letting them know that I am more than happy to leave and we will go somewhere else. I've already talked to the marketing team about another solution, another plan that allows us to do it. Because quite frankly, the most important thing to me is communication with my students. And if you guys are in the class or you guys are in the boot camp, I want to be able to interact with you. There's a great chat where everyone can see it. And a lot of you have done a great job of putting stuff in the chat. I'd like to see more people active, asking questions to the group. Congratulations to Redion and CJ and Robert Farinelli and Matt E, Clint. Congratulations to all you guys, Anna Kay, for putting questions out there. That's what we're doing this for. Big group, lots of conversation, always talking about solutions. But we have had an issue with getting this boot camp scheduled because of the platform. And I assure you, we are resolving it, because I have no tolerance for this. The fact that it's taken a week and a half even to get that email out. Crazy. All-nighter hider, good morning. Invest to Wealth, good morning. Yeah, over 3,000 counties. Exactly. Yep. Lynn, good morning. Good to have you here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, dishes every day. Rob, I'm appalled at LJ's language. I know, I saw that one coming up. Like I said, I probably got kids upstairs watching, so I got to kind of watch it a little bit. Thanks, Michelle. Not compliant. Yeah, not compliant yet. You know, isn't that, listen, it's been an amazing experience, because I literally said to them, I said, I haven't had an inspection that was 100% clear yet. The day that I do, I'm going to break something just so they flag me that they have to do a follow-up inspection, because I won't know what to do. And it's the silliest stuff. It's the silliest stuff, but whatever, it's fine. It's part of the process. And if you don't want to go through that process, don't rent to Section 8 or housing. Dishes every day. Be sure to give this guy a like. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, you guys. We want this to get out to as many people as possible, obviously. Bryn Utovac. Hi, new friend. Hi, Bryn. Good to have you here. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, that's right. So I think Bryn, I believe, which is my daughter's name spelled exactly like yours. That's what actually made my eyes go right to it. I was like, she's 3.5. She doesn't type yet. But Bryn was on a Facebook post last night, I believe, and this isn't you, I apologize. But she was just like, okay, tell me more. And this other guy is making these assertions. He hasn't picked up on it yet, that no one is giving him a thumbs up on what he's saying, because it's unbelievably stupid. Factual. And I just keep on banging him up, and because I'm just like, no, you're interpreting data incorrectly. And this is the problem. This is why I hate social media. It gives everyone a microphone. even when you shouldn't have one. I only talk about things I know about because otherwise I look like an idiot. So I only talk about things I know about. And that usually is at least a much safer lane for me. Will I be offensive? Yes, likely, but it is what it is. The Yoder. Good morning, Yoder. Dion Talk. Every time you hit the like button, an angel gets its wings. Thanks, Dion, buddy. I appreciate you, pal. RE3. Good morning, Ryan, Dion, Matt. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Cynthia Vibes. Not entirely dumb. True. Yes, I'm not entirely dumb. Sometimes a little bit, but regards from the from the Arctic of Southwest Florida. I know, what is it, like 71 there? Yeah, it's actually supposed to be in the 40s this week. I am literally tickled pink. I'm excited. I'm excited beyond containment. No wonder I'm kind of mediocre at landlording. RE3. Yeah, so it's really funny is it's a byproduct, right? So obviously nothing I put in the course was specifically meant to offend anybody. But one of the most often comments I'm seeing is I didn't realize how little I knew about landlording until I took the course. I take that as an absolute comment without the compliment, excuse me. It is a comment no matter what, negative or positive, but it's a compliment to me. The hope is that I taught you something or a bunch of things that you didn't know that got you great return. Phil Nealand isn't here yet. He might be here this morning. I don't know, but Phil Nealand gave me the ultimate compliment. He took the course. Our course is $9.95. He said, I changed one thing in my business and I've already made that back in less than 30 days, the $9.95 he spent. That means the world to me because I remember what it was like having almost nothing and having to consume as much data as I could and literally having to pay contractors so I could work with them for free just so I could learn things that I could then go to the next level in my business on. So Phil, I really appreciate you saying such kind things. And to all of you who have said such kind things, I really do appreciate it. And this is what the course is for. I know that you guys can level up. I know that you can get elite. I know that there's all these lessons in there that will make you better, period. Richard Gamino, great morning, Matt and everyone. Great morning to you as well. Laura with San Maniego, good morning. Oh, my chat move. That was rude. Millennial Mike, no busted pipes this week. Mike, shut up. Zuber just posted foreclosures up 568%. The crash must be coming. Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the things that I laugh about all the time is foreclosures up 500%, 400%. They're up from never before seen numbers. Number one, because there was a moratorium. But even more than that is the stuff that is going to foreclosure. Most people don't know that it's like a funnel. Starts at the top like this, where you have 1,000 people, and then it ticks down and ticks down and ticks down and ticks down. With all the equity most of these people have in their homes, guess what? They can sell them. So the number of foreclosures that's going to come out in the wash this time around is probably not even going to be the numbers it was last time when we had horrible debt structures. Last time in the Great Recession, we were doing 250 to 350,000 foreclosures a month. Normal numbers are about 100,000 a month. We're nowhere near that. Actual foreclosures happening. We're still south of that. So it might tick up to normal, but I don't think it's going to tick much past that because quite frankly, there's still a bunch of equity. The stuff that is like super luxury stuff, there's always somebody with enough cash lying around that will buy a steal of super luxury. Same thing with the move-up buyer in many cases. It's the median minus, i.e. the less than median priced homes, that when they come to market, there's still not enough inventory. What you look at most new homes in most markets, that is a median plus house. That is an over median priced home. So when that price comes down, people want to cite that as saying, well, yeah, there's these new homes are down 20%. Dude, really? Like, and so what? It doesn't matter. So is the price of lumber. The price of lumber is actually down 70%. But I'm a dork and I love watching uneducated economists. Simon crushes it when it comes to the lumber markets. And he's probably the only person I know that's in a lumber yard more than I am, or certainly looking at pricing more than I am. That's why I watch him. And so as I make those moves, as I look at the market, as I see it performing or not performing, yeah, are some new home builders in trouble? Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are, because they thought that they were going to get, let me put it to you this way, 1,500 square foot house in my market, 20-year-old home. So built in the early 2000s. 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That house sells for probably the low fours, right around median price. That house, brand new, they're trying to get $699 for it. $699. I could take that house at 1,500 square feet. I could gut it and I could make it nicer than the other home that they're trying to sell for $7. I could make it nicer. I could make it nicer for probably about $100 a foot, which would be about $150,000. So now we're 550 instead of 700. And I built a superior product because none of my stuff would be building grade. So yeah, is there going to be some shakeout in parts of the market and in some markets? Yes, of course. I've called a 10 to 20% reduction. I still believe by the end of 2024 that we will have gone from peak to minus 10% in the US in the market, because I believe that the luxury buyer has disappeared and I believe that the move-up buyer is not far behind them. And so most transactions are going to be happening in that median minus, but that doesn't mean that median minus homes have come down. And that's what the crashers don't get. I digress. Oh, tell you. Financial firefighter, aloha from Hawaii. Hey, Mark, watch your live stream yesterday with Millennial Mike. If you guys haven't seen that yet, well worth the watch if you're looking at remote management, because those guys have done it. Kenor, hi, Matt. Hi, Kenor. Let's see. Kenor, about rent control, you don't need to fear. In Germany, we have these controls and rents are rising. Yes, in fact, what happens is they rise every single year. So in our state, they defeated rent control 18-1.
So good.
They defeated registration of rents 16-3. We won. And we see these other things continue to get nabbed and tabbed off of things. Now, if they start to try and control the rental market, here's what I know. Every year, your tenants are going to get an increase. Rent control actually hurts the large investors because then they don't want to build new stuff. That creates a push on supply, which increases demand, which drives prices higher, which means I can raise rent every year on an existing tenant, and then they're not going to want to leave because their other alternative is going into a new unit where they can price it whatever they want, but knowing that rents are going up, guess what? They price it higher, $300 higher. That keeps the tenant in my place. Sorry, Mr. Mike. That keeps the tenant in my place longer. That keeps their rent going up every single year. Go for it. Pass rent control. Be anti-capital. Go for it. Have a blast. All the big players leave those markets. They run. Look at Minneapolis, St. Paul specifically. They ran. Look at Seattle, lost 3,000 units. They ran. Those markets then get even more competitive for rent. And then what happens? The same people that pass rent control are the morons that then start talking about affordable housing. We need it. Okay. What are you going to do it yourself, government? Yeah, you were awesome at that. Bucket of suck. Anyway, Clint Leclerc. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Clint. Dangerous is if you can't get tenants out when they don't pay rents. Exactly. The nice thing is in the US that was ruled unconstitutional. And in fact, this is where, and this is not a political conversation. Don't go there. This is what it is. My state and states with red governors, they did not, as soon as the federal moratorium was over, those states ended it. It was period, end of story. And that's just a fact. In my state, because that's what I studied. When I looked to find out which market I wanted to be in, I wanted to be with the government that aligned the most with what I was trying to accomplish. And that meant, first and foremost, that they needed my revenue. Well, because our state doesn't have an income tax, because our state doesn't have a sales tax, they depend on property or revenue from properties from property taxes. So who are they aligned with? The landlord or the tenant? The tenant doesn't pay property tax directly. The landlord pays property tax directly. If I'm not getting paid my rents, I certainly can't pay my property taxes. So you're at least here, you're not wicked pro tenant. You're at least reasonable where it's checks and balances on both sides. They want the free market to be the free market so they don't have to intervene, which is exactly what we're going for. I think I saw another super chat. Phil Nealon. So I'm a framer. Yep. In Alaska in the winter, and we couldn't be busier. Interesting. Finally convinced my boss to raise his prices, and we are still booked out. Very interesting. Never would have guessed it. Never would have guessed it. There is not enough supply. If you look at every single decade from 1960, I believe, 1950, every 10 years, every decade, there were the equivalent of 20 million homes built every decade, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, until you hit 2010. And then we built just over 5 million units, a 15 million unit shortage. And now you're going to try and tell me that there's too much supply? Oh, you dope. Math isn't your friend. Clint LeClaire. Hey, Matt, when multiple roommates apply together, does everyone pay for their own credit check? Is there a privacy concern if one roommate doesn't qualify? How is that addressed? So the way that I do it on mine is because of the rules in my state. In my state, when you sign the same lease, you are joint and severably liable, which means I sign, my buddy Tim signs, my buddy Mike signs, and my buddy Dion signs. When we sign, the three of us together, you can technically, if I trash the place, if Dion makes the most money and has the best credit, you can actually go after him. It's called joint and several liability. It's a beautiful thing. So I never, ever, ever rent out by the room. The only thing I'll do is take roommates. But what I also do is if somebody's like, if there's a 750 and a 710 and then a 610, I just take the three of them and I average them. That's how I do it. That's how I do it. And I certainly ask the person that's a 610, I ask them, hey, can you give me some detail on why you're a 610? That's all. Because it could be something in the past, not something that's current. That's what I would tell you. Robert Farinelli, do you love my idea that putting too much recessed lighting on a dimmer instead of possibly too little? Want to make sure light hits every inch of the room, no dark spots. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, if you can go with 8 instead of 6, it costs nothing. It really costs nothing. You're talking about an extra, the electrician's already there. You're talking about $100. I'm always, when I set up new puck lights, or not puck lights, flat lights, pancake lights. When we put those in the ceiling, the LED retrofits, when we put those in the ceiling, we'll do more lighting and we'll put it on a dimmer switch because we still want the 5,000 lumen because that is the most like the eyes. That's the most like the sunlight that the eyes see and how it filters in. So if you're a 3,000 or 4,000 and you have somebody that gets headaches easily or gets migraines, that will likely enhance the chance that they will have issues. It also promotes like tired eyes. So no joke, I'm a weirdo, I get it, but 5,000 lumens is the most like sunlight. At least that's what my research showed. RT, what's up, everybody? Another great day of content. Thank you, Art. I appreciate that. I don't feel the pressure. I know that I will deliver great content for you today because it's just experiences. Michelle Meyer, shoot, it was friends. That's okay. Just looked up the definition of fiends, and I like that too. See, that's what I said. Both work. Well done, Michelle. Appreciate that. Laura Samanigo, Kenor, are the taxes and insurance in Germany also increasing above 30% while a cap of rent is 3%? Interested in knowing. Yes, we always want to do that. Rob, sound? I don't know. Everyone can hear me, I assume. Hider. Rob, is your volume down? Not out of the realm of possibility. Just saying. Kenor, in Germany, you are allowed to raise rents 15% in 5 years, but only if you give other rentals with the same rent. Yep. Taxes is not 25% like it is in the US. It is 42. That's true. Yep. Also, it's not allowed that all costs are paid by rentals. Yeah. Tough market, man. Tough market. Millennial Mike, suspiciously low number of likes on the video. Yeah, I agree. 32 out of 73. The hell? I'm dropping heat, guys, in a good way. Kenor, insurance is stable, but on the high level. Yep. But here you often get 0 on 0 after all costs. Yeah, sure. Wayne Miller, they're like, thanks, Wayne. Appreciate you being a team player. Rob fixed. Well, yeah, now I know it was your issue because I didn't touch anything. Alyssa, hey, Alyssa, good morning. Finally made it on time-ish. Hey, horseshoes and hand grenades, I'm good with that. Kenor, you guys are so lucky. Great country with great mentors like Mike's and Dion's and the Beast Matt. And you know what, Beast, I don't mind. I've been called far worse this week. In fact, I was called far worse yesterday. All-nighter hider. Foreclosure filings are up. Foreclosure closings are a slight rise. Exactly right. And so what you'll continue to see is you will see continued rises in foreclosures. However, there's not going to be this rolling tide of them. There just isn't. There just isn't. It's not going to be this massive rolling tide. Banks are doing it completely differently this time than they did last time because they got their clock absolutely cleaned last time when they did foreclosures. Because it being vacant and in disrepair and not being able to inspect, I was able to go in and buy stuff that was selling for $250 and $275. I was buying it for $150. Now, I had to believe that my market was going to return, but I had fairly good information that it would eventually someday return. I didn't know if it would be 5 years or 10 years or 15, but it was what it was. Unemployment will have to go way higher for a crash to have a chance of happening. Agreed, Bittner. You're dead on. It's going to come down to employment. And here's the crazy thing. It's mostly going to be white collar. It's mostly going to be white collar. And so are they in the move up buyer home already? Yep. That's why I've got a much higher range than what I actually want to buy a home for in Vegas. I have a much higher range on there. I'm going to get an amazing deal. Otherwise I don't buy. I can keep on, Airbnb or VRBOs. I can keep on doing that for 2 weeks, every year, or, rent a house for a month, or, get something regular with somebody so the fees can go way down. I can get that. Because at this point, it'd just be an additional expense. So it's all about the dollars and the deal. Kenor, crash will not happen. They learn from the past. Exactly. Maybe a decline of 10% in prices. I agree. That's where I think it's going to be. And it's not going to be median lower going down. It's just not. There's no inventory. No one's building that stuff at that price. It's not going to go down. No one's building $100,000 3-bedroom, 1-bath homes in Gary, Indiana. No one's doing that. Mike's strategy is brilliant. Period. It's a low cost of living area. Man, give me all feisty on a Sunday. If lumber is down 70%, then inflation must be down 70%. Let's ignore supply and demand. It's antiquated. Jeff M. America is dying. It does have it. We are continuing to increase in one very important statistic. Morons. Yeah. Jeff M. Have a great day. Go Chiefs. Jeff M. That's how you're going to leave me? Whatever, Jeff M. It's not very nice. Bitcoin. Phil, how does one become a farmer? Oh, he's a framer. He's a framer. Mini work lights. Nice. That's good. Go Chiefs. I don't know. Go Chiefs or go Philadelphia. It's kind of like picking, do you want to get punched in the face or punched in the stomach? Ugh. Either way, you're getting punched. Let's see, Jacob, I'm stealing bucket of suck. You're very more than happy to. The other one that is a personal favorite of mine is clearly you've had a second helping of stupid soup. Surprisingly, that didn't go very well when I used that in a meeting last week. It was the truth. So whatever. Success is your Jerneal. Good to have you back, Jerneal. Good morning, all. Who's winning the Super Bowl today? Like I said, punch in the face or punch in the gut. Either way, it's a punch. Both good teams. All-nighter hider. LOL, Jacob. Got to give Matt credit for the first 3 times used. Yep. After the taxes, babe, it's all yours. Nice. Kenor, America will never die. You will grow up stronger than before. Europe will die. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's sadly, it's correct. I mean, I've got a lot of friends in the UK. Some of them consider that Europe. I consider it Europe. I consider anybody that wears jeans that tight, it has to be a European cut. Yeah, I don't fit in anything like that. I literally took my buddy's skinny jeans one time and I went like this on my arm and I couldn't get it past. I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you? Oh my word. Eat some steak. Interesting. Yeah, indeed. Thought provoking. As you guys know, I've always got guys in the field, so I'm always available to people. Have to be. Cost me money. Corby Cartier. Good morning, everybody. Yep, it was you were just beneath the line. Yeah, and my boss raised prices. GC fit quite a bit. Good, and we are doing pretty big homes. That's awesome. BSWG, morning, y'all. Good morning. Phil Nealon almost doubled his fee and my pay, and still it matches what I almost increased via Matt's course. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Guys, that's the stuff I want to know. I want to know the impact that it's making on you guys. And if we need to change something up or add something or do something more, guys, I literally didn't create a 12th module because I wanted people to tell me something the course was missing so we could add it to it. We want to add, we want to continue to add over time. Absolutely. We're going to add. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. Dave Mellick, in regards to pancake lights, we just got 2 quotes for over $2,000 for 6 lights. Okay, seems extremely high since they said it would only take a couple of hours. What price would you expect? Not $2,000. Here's what I would do. So me specifically, I did the video on Sunco lights. I like Sunco because of the type of harness that they use and the type of box that they use. And I can get them for about $8 or so each. And then you're looking at probably, I don't know, maybe a roll of wire, likely not. You're probably looking at maybe 100 feet of wire, probably 14 too. So you're probably looking, if you buy supplies on your own, you're probably looking at, for 6 lights, 6 or 8, sorry, 6. Looking at maybe 150 in material, tops. You can buy that stuff yourself. But you're looking at probably 150 in material, and it would be one guy, maybe an 8-hour day, maybe. So if you can find a guy for $100 an hour, you're probably getting that work done. Any of you trades guys in the chat, let me know if I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. It's a day job, 6 in a room, because if you have a light that's already there, it depends on how much don't have them do sheetrock, putting stuff back. That's one of the big keys. Make sure that they're only in there, that they've found and created a map, that they've done the math and said, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one. And then if you still have the light in the center of the room, they'll just use that box that's up in the ceiling as the junction box, which they'll take the line off of, and then they'll feed all the other lines. That is not a two guy job for a day. It just isn't. And that's basically what they're quoting you. They're quoting you 2 guys for a day. Maybe more. Yeah, about 100 an hour. 80 to 100 an hour. What I would do is I would look on Thumbtack. I would give them the spec of exactly what the job is. And yeah, I think you can get that job done for about $1,000, not $2,000. Nope. And you got other tradesmen, weigh in, please. I don't think that's a $2,000 job. Like the video, guys, it's free. Thank you, RE3. Robert Farinelli. Yep. NH is a great state to be a landlord. It so is. Nicholas Massey. Matt, if you moved back to one of your rentals and made it a primary, would you have to pay back taxes from depreciation you took prior from renting it? No, because I would still be, I don't have a single family home, so it would still be a rental property. It would change the numbers, but I wouldn't have to pay anything back unless I sold it, because I wouldn't be able to count it the same way as if I moved into it, if that makes sense. But that's a CPA question. I don't really answer those. So I would, before I did it, I would actually have a conversation with my CPA or EA, enrolled agent. I would have that conversation with them and make sure, hey, am I right in this way? And what's my tax exposure? We just had a call this week where we talked for about an hour about planning for some big things that we're doing this year. And I said, I need to make sure that I structure it properly so I don't leave myself a big tax matzo ball. I have no problem paying my taxes, but I only want to pay what I have to. Not what they would like to. Because sometimes that happens too. All-nighter. In my opinion, football is like stop and go traffic. I'm not into a few seconds, then hustle in for a minute and then walking around. The constant action of hockey is much more my taste. Go Kings, go. Your Kings are having a rough year, aren't they? Yeah, right here. Sadly, this is my last cup, and we went to 2 other cups since then. I was a little bit sad, but I like our chances this year. We're pretty good. We're pretty good. But as you know, Hyder, it's all about the playoffs, and the playoffs is a war of attrition. It's not 4 weeks like football. It's 2 months, and it's playing every other night for 2 months. It's crazy. Did you just use Gary and brilliant in the same sentence? I did. I did use Gary and brilliant in the same sentence. Salitha Berry, good morning. Good morning, Salitha. I'm sure Hyder can share link. I have about 43 of them left in the box with all of my outlets and covers, replacing 2 this weekend. Very cool. Phil Nealon, good for you. Alyssa M. Haha, I need to remember Stupid Soup. Yeah, it's funny. Kador, Matt, what do you think about buying cash now and refinancing when the rates are lower? If I knew when the rates would be lower, yes. If I am going to use my cash on a deal, it better not stop me from buying another deal until I refi, if that makes sense. It really comes down to, if that deal were the deal of the century, then I would try and do that. And then after I got that property stabilized, I'd probably go and try and get debt secondary market and not refinance with the bank. But it really is all about the numbers for me. It's really about that best use of capital. What return am I going to get on that capital? All nighter header. Tight jeans are terrible for testosterone. I wouldn't know. They never fit. Nicholas Massey, Matt, if you had a lump sum of money inherited, would you buy a few houses in 1 year, or suggest a dollar cost average approach and buy one yearly in case of recession these days? So Nicholas, that's a great question. I would do, knowing my market, I would be looking at deals that give me crazy high returns. That's what I'd be looking for. It really depends on what your goal is. You know, some people like Dion doesn't recycle capital. He only recycles cash flow. So he'll take the cash flow that he makes, he saves up over time, and he'll buy another property, but he won't refi out of a property, get a bunch of money back, get narrower margin on the rents that he's getting. And so for him, he loves that strategy. For me, I will have that strategy someday, but not today. And the reason that I won't is because I can still grow my business and I can still have those great returns. And so long as I'm not putting any buildings at risk, i.e. I think my portfolio is around 50 or 55% LTV. All the stuff that I just refied is about 67, 68% LTV. So there's still plenty of room. Let's say the market goes down 20%. I still got to pay 8 points to get rid of the thing. Guess what? I still make out. I still get a check at the closing table if things got bad. And if literally the number went down 20%, likely what I would do is I'd probably get a premium, because I look for an investor and say, hey, do you want to buy 100 of my 130 units as an example? That's what I would probably do. Robert Finelli. So Paint Guy at Ace Hardware recommends using 2 thin roller coats to paint already painted cabinets with Fresh Start Primer and Benjamin Moore Advance. I don't know. I'd have to ask, because we've used, I think it was Aqualock. I have to ask. Aqualock sticks to everything. So what you really want is just a high bond primer. And so I'd have to ask my painter, because I know that the technology, believe it or not, paint technology changes. That's why I lean on him as heavily as I do. Robert Fairnelly claims advanced levels so well you don't need a sprayer. Yeah, maybe, possibly. Phil Nealand. Unfortunately, I have to wear Carhartts, like baggy framer pants. Yep, haha. 12K plus to my bottom line. Thank you so much, Matt. You're very welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure. Angel R, the GOAT. Thank you, Angel. I appreciate that. I certainly do try. Let's see. My master electrician, Robert Fairnelly, my master electrician charges $75 an hour. Yeah. Yeah. My guy is 60 an hour, but he never has to do other side work. Literally, he says, hey, what do you have for me this weekend? Boom, boom, boom. Here you go. So he knows, boom, just $60 an hour guaranteed, goes out, makes it, done. Bigger projects, same thing. He brings in, a friend of his. The two of them go in there, they line the whole house, they do all that other stuff. They have to show up for the inspection. He takes care of it, but boom, $60 an hour. Boom, boom, boom. Fast, fast, fast. Yeah, really easy. Let's see. Richard Gamino must have been super cold for someone to have that much stupid soup. It was freezing. Yeah, it was freezing. And there was a lot of it around. Dustin Brown retired. We lost a good guy. Yeah, Dustin Brown was a great player. Great player. Dowdy's a little bit long in the tooth. They should trade him now and put him on a team where he can win another ring. Not like he needs another ring. He's already got a couple. That's what I would do. Phil Nealon, and my handyman is also a tenant and coworker and happy as hell and can do it all. Yeah, exactly right. Yep. Josh Burdick, I'm about to close on a third single family rental. Very good. Congratulations. Paid cash in a competitive market. Yep. What's the best way to pull out 50% equity? I want to deploy the cash on the next one. So the best way is go to a number of vendors. The reason I say that is because you can talk to a mortgage broker, you can talk to a couple of local banks, and you can talk to maybe a DSCR person. The reason I would look at all of them is because depending on their load of exposure in the market, depending on that is what will help them make a decision on pricing. Believe it or not, that's actually true. I have a bank that I work with, and they said, hey, listen, we don't want anything more than, this isn't going to be that kind of show. I'm just getting warm. It's got warm here in the studio, and this is a really thick flannel shirt. But yeah, not this kind of show. So sorry, guys. But yeah, if you look at it, it's actually really, they said, one of the banks I talked to said, hey, we've got $90 million exposure in that market. We don't want any more. And so if we're going to do that deal for you, it's going to be expensive. Okay, cool. So I shopped it, found somebody that was 3/4 of a point less. That's the key for you. And the way that you need to pitch that, going to drop some gold. Please pay attention. The way that you pitch a 50% loan is this. I'm willing to give you a deal where I put you in first position on this deal for only 50% of the value of the property. Think about it. You're the bank, right? And you're getting the first place position in an asset where you only have to have 50% exposure. They won't take less. They might take less, but not if usually they won't, only because they don't want somebody coming in and getting first position in the deal because they got a bigger chunk of the house. So that's the way that you position it, is say, hey, I've got a house that I want to do something with. And in this house, hold on one second, my agent. But in this type of a house, yes, it's going to get rented. In this type of a deal with a house, you want to make sure that you're giving them the idea that, hey, listen, 50%, I only need you for 50%. I want a great rate because you guys are getting first position in the house, and then shop the hell out of it. Make sure you know you've only got 2 or 3 weeks window with your credit score before it starts to negatively impact you for multiple hits on your credit. Know that. But the thing that you need to do is when you're ready to do it, make sure that you have a proposal that you've written out that's very simple, and then send that email to every single person that you talk to. Talk to them on the phone first. Hi, this is the opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Yep. Okay. You're interested. Awesome. I'll send you an email and let me know what the best is that you can do on this. And do that. And then when you get the best two, then you go back to both of them and say, here's what I've got. Now for me, I still do that with my bank. Although I tell them, they know up front, hey, listen, if it's an easy enough deal, I'll just give them the deal. If there's too big of a spread, I'll take the deal away. And I did. I took one deal away, I don't know, 6 months ago or so. Took a deal away because the numbers, they had a lot of exposure in that market at that asset that was debt that was about to reset. That happened. Everything went fine with it. Now they're back to, giving me a strong run for the money. I'm sorry. I missed this one too. Phil Nealon, my handyman is 130 an hour for others, but he tracks the minutes. Yeah, that's important. And again, even if it's a day, even if you're 100 an hour times an 8-hour day, that's $800. And it's not a 2-man job to put in 6 pancake lights. It just isn't. And if it is, then you can literally hire somebody and say, I want to bring you in to map out these holes and cut the holes in the ceilings because I don't feel confident in doing that myself. And when it's done, I mean, at that point you're done because you just basically you cut the holes in the ceiling and there's nothing to patch except for maybe that center patch where you had the original light in the center of the room. So for what it's worth, hopefully that helps you guys. Legacy up. I learned about seasonality from you. Cool. Now rents are higher in my neighborhood than they were at the peak of 22. I love it. People are still migrating from California and loving the rents. Arizona. Yup. 100%. Not only are you getting human or renter or buyer migration, but you're getting renter migration too. You're getting all of it. Thank you, California. I'd send Gavin Newsom a thank you card. Policies are killing that state. All-nighter. I'm planning a framing job in Black Rock, Arkansas in about a week. Going to be there 3 to 4 weeks and only charging my buddy $4K because he's my buddy. Yeah, it's a good deal. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, it moved. Oh, there we go. Thank God. Found it. Nicholas Massey, if you cash out refi but get a narrower rents, how narrow would you go? 300 a door? No, it would be about return on my capital. It'd really be about that. Am I getting the return on capital that I need where this is still a good deal in the market, right? I don't want to lie to myself and try and get higher rents to skew things. And I don't want a deal that can be a loser, where I'm paying too much money on a monthly basis. I don't want that deal. The cash doesn't work for me. You can decide how much money you want to take out. And quite frankly, for me, I don't want to lever anything more than 70 because that always gives me room. Am I leaving some money on the table? Yep, I definitely am. Because even if the market goes down 20 and then it costs me 8 points to sell, I'm going to still walk away with a couple of points, right? And usually by that time, the debt will be paid down a little bit. So I might walk away with 5% or 6% or something like that. But for me, 70 is the number just because I actually have my actions follow through with my beliefs. I believe there's a 10 to 20% correction. I always want to be in a position where if I had to sell something, I could. So now if I had to sell some things, I could, even if it were down 20%. Phil Nealon, I was thinking of asking permission to go home to Minnesota to help my pops build a garage. I mean, you could. I get it. Hider, rolling leaves more material for protection, but spraying, yep, leaves a way better finish and can be sprayed again and again for buildup. That's very true. I do love spray. I really do. Semi-gloss on trim where they do an HVLP, which is a high volume, low pressure tip out of the spray gun. It literally looks like silk. It's a completely different finish over a roller. And if you're in a nicer home, I mean, even for us, we spend that money on that type of a finish because it looks a whole lot better. It's not just some paint crew that came in there and slapped a bunch of paint on the walls and the trim. It looks really professionally done and pretty. Anna K, what did you just say that you buy 55% LTV loan to value, but when you refi it's 75%? Are you referring to the down payment? No. So I'm referring to, we'll ride a mortgage down, but usually when rates have significantly improved, like they did last year, we went and we maxed our LTV at 70. I think that's what you're referring to me to Anna K. I could be wrong. Phil Nealon, we wear the stupid suit up gear for at least, 5 out of 12. Yeah, I know you do. It's so cold up there. Do you need bonding primer if the cabinets already have paint? Yes, I do. I just want that, and the other thing too is that like if they already have paint, like is another 2 coats of paint going to look bad? That's what I concern myself with. Because Robert, in Manchester more than any other place probably in the world, you can find pieces of trim that have 400 coats of paint on them. Like they look awful. And so for me, it's really about what's that finished product going to look like. I like to spray the cabinets. I also don't like it if they already have a paint on them. But if they do, basically, I mean, if you know that it's a newer paint, you can just scuff that and then shoot it. And that's usually what the painter will do anyway. But that good primer, It's the difference between having to, chips or getting nicks or pops. That's what happens with those paint jobs. When you have a great primer there, you don't have an adhesion issue ever if you have a good primer. Brian Beck. Hi, everyone. Hey, Brian. Good to have you here. Phil Nealon. That's gold. Thank you, my friend. Infamous NYC. Good morning, all. Good morning. Invest to Wealth. I think the answer is yes. Can you seller finance for property listed on MLS? Yes, you can. Yep. The only thing that you'll ever have a problem with is we tried to do a seller finance deal this year, or this week, actually. I couldn't get the seller on the phone. So it was up to the agent describing it. I think he did a really good job. I expect he did a really good job. I spent time with him on the phone. He understands it. We talked through it. But at the end of the day, they said no. Excuse me. At the end of the day, they said no. So it is what it is. Kind of sucked. Let's see. Flash of light. Lumberjack. Top of the morning. Top of the morning to you. Flash of light. Do you have a succession plan to continue the business if you pass, or is it likely your portfolio will be liquidated? That's a great question. So, yes and yes. So yes, if, even if I just want to stop doing it, I would transition it over to a property management company that I would start. I would start the company. I would hire the people. And then I would give, part of the ownership to those people. So it was their business, just like mine. And then because I would train them, then I would have them manage the portfolio. If something happened quickly, my agent and Mrs. Lumberjack, she could decide what she wants to do. She can choose to start shopping it and liquidate and just get the number that she wants. She could transition it over to a property manager and make crazy money every single month and never have to do anything again. So yeah, that's why they're all in the trust though, is because if something happened to me, Mrs. Lumberjack, Ashley doesn't have to do anything. She's still able to pay all the mortgages, still able to receive all the rents, still has access to all the accounts. She has everything. So we would be okay. But thanks for being grim. It's a good question. Just kidding. It's a good question. That's a lot for a handyman. Yeah, 60. Wow, my handyman is $60. Thought that's a lot. It isn't when you figure that they got to pop in their truck and come out and do whatever. That's why we made the decision to actually hire. We hired. It made more sense. We have guys that have skill that we like them. We like their personalities and they have the skill set. They're good to work with. And so we decided that we were just going to hire. That's the decision that we made actually this week, was we're going to hire them. So we hired them. It makes more sense for me. I have complete control, but I also have a higher number of units. But if I ever got slow, I could easily call up other friends that I know need labor and actually have somewhere where they could go where I would just get paid and it would be basically a pass through, but we'd at least cover our expenses. However, not a likelihood that that's happening anytime soon. All-nighter hider. We call it Newsomlini. Nice. Richard, helped me greatly. I have to put pancake lights in. Awesome. Yeah. Check out the video that I made. There's a link in there for Sunco's. Again, I don't recommend anything that I don't use the product myself. In all the years, I think we've used Sunco's for about 6 years, maybe. I think we've replaced 2 or 3. We don't replace them very often. It's very rare. And we've deployed probably 400. I think we've deployed. We've deployed a lot of them. Yeah, a lot. Phil Nealon. But it's Alaska. Yeah, and he's very good. Yeah, Alaska, everything is much more expensive. Like milk, there's what, like $7? It's expensive. Marie, glad I bought. No more slummy, dirty, unkept rentals. I agree. Yeah. It was a great time to buy the last couple of years. It really was. Yeah, Phil, I'm a GC in the package of a handyman. Yep. Can do anything. I charge for my experience and knowledge. Exactly right. Phil Nealon, spray the cabinets when you do the trim. Yes. Agreed. I like that idea. That's what we do all the time. Marie, yeah, trade-off. Thanks. Lots of work, time, money. Now I can realize the landlord's challenge. I keep my place nice and clean and maintained. That's all you should do as a landlord. You got to do that. Be responsive to your tenants, keep it a nice place, And, that should attract the right type of tenant. Let's see. Let's see. Saw Lumberjack on Uneducated Economist channel. He's very informative also. Thank you, Marie. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love working with Simon. Great time, smart guy. Focuses on a part of the market I don't focus on. And so I love to learn, and he's a great teacher. So yeah, you'll see me out there in his live streams when I have the chance to catch him. You'll see me there in his live streams often. I don't miss many, but I do miss some, because he usually goes live at like 4:00 on Pacific time, which is like right at my kid's bedtime at 7. So it's like after I get all the kids done, and then that's usually Friday night. And then I get to spend some time with my wife, and then she goes to bed by that point, he's usually done, which is up. And then I watch on rerun, and I see all the crazy things Hyder says. Just kidding, Hyder. BSWG, my dad passed. Sorry to hear that. And had a trust set up, but he used his SSN, and it was kind of a headache, but I'm guessing you use an EIN for your trust. So we still use an SSN, but we have all the supporting documentation in place for that to be an easy transition, because it's named. So it won't have to go to probate, if that's what you're talking about, that piece of it. We do have an LLC now that does have its own separate EIN, but yes, that's our structure. Robert Fernelli, the finished product on cabinets are temporary. Want to custom cabinets in granite, but too broke and need to turn the unit. Yep, already have a renter and 2 backups for March. Love it. Love it. Yeah, they're definitely this week. We saw a lot of activity and actually decent applications. For December and January, the applications were crap. Like we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And it was just like, we just posted in the ad, you have to have this information if you want to be considered. And it's like less than 5%. And the ones that followed instruction, they were awful. The numbers just weren't there. None of them made sense. The way it goes, you can shark bite it yourself. Oh, wait, sorry, I missed one. The finished product on cap. Nope, I did that one. Good. Phil Nealon, you can shark bite it yourself and get the end caps for a few bucks. Not a spendy tool like that. Yes. So you absolutely can. I use shark bites for years. I have seen frozen pipe pop a shark bite and create a massive leak. You won't have that with press fittings. They are there to take the water pressure. The shark bites just aren't. And so they worked a number of times for me. We have places where we have them, but now I'm a pro press snob, because I saw it saved my bacon, and having that tool, while expensive, I get it if you're a newer landlord not spending that kind of money on that tool, but likely with the amount of activity that tool's going to get if you buy it used, you are likely never, ever, ever going to have to buy another one, is my guess. I love it. Yes, sorry to read. Yep. Then call a plumber on regular hours. Yep, agreed. It's terrible how slobby and disrespectful most renters can be. It's true. It's true. I always tell people, I was like, you want to feel bad for renters, have some for a year. Let me know how you feel after that. Just true. Some, great. Most, good enough. Some, complete a-holes. It's usually the 20% rule. For me, it's a 10% rule. 10% of them are 90% of my phone calls. I'm excited because I'm like 60 days away from handing out hey, we're not going to renew your lease. And yes, I do make that sound. Yep. Phil Nealon, I've done shark bite ball valve. Yep. And then go on to crimp fittings. Sure. Infamous NYC, as a first-time buyer, should you go multifamily or single family home? If you're asking me, watch my 4-3-2-1 video. The 4-3-2-1 strategy video, it's free. It's on my channel. I would watch that video. I think when you start off with a single family house, you're robbing yourself of millions of dollars. Millions, not a few 100,000, millions. So I would watch the 4-3-2-1 and see if that's doable. If you can't get a 4-unit or a 3-unit, you can still get a duplex, because I know duplexes are everywhere. 4s and 3s, a little bit more difficult depending on your market. Marie, I understand both sides. Yep. I would have rented from a guy like Lumberjack. Thanks, Marie. I appreciate that. I probably would have rented to you too. Usually the biggest thing that we're looking to see is that people are reasonable when we're doing a rental, that they're reasonable, that they recognize, hey, things are going to break. You're going to break them. Things are just going to generally break. Doesn't mean we're going to blame you every single time you call us. However, if it's a broken door handle on a cabinet, we're not rushing and sending somebody right over. We're going to fill it sometime over the course of the next week or two. And if it's an emergency, we act swiftly. So, and we take care of stuff that needs to be taken care of. Raise your rents per Matt's course, Dion strategy, and you'll get better tenants. It's very true. It's very true. We gave ourselves a 6-figure raise last year on our existing units, just with rent raises. It was the market. They didn't have to stay. They could have left. And we also do it because, there are expenses that come not every year, like a roof. I might need a roof on some of those buildings in 10 years. Well, I can't go to the tenant at the time and say, hey, I need a roof, need you to chip in towards the 20K. No, I have to be raising rents over time to be able to put more and more away to do these types of capital improvements. That's the way it goes. BSWG, all-nighter hitter. Yeah, cancer sucks, dude. It totally does. My daughter had cancer last year, and thankfully we still have a miracle, and she is cancer-free. So I understand. Phil Nealon, way to go, Angel. I know, I agree. Way to go. Good stuff. Layla Kiros, BSWG, trusts are always set up in a person's SSN. Yep. Then you can get a new TEIN. Yep. After they pass from IRS, standard practice. Yes, correct. Yep. Well done, Leela. Interesting. Thanks for that info. All of it is in my mom's name right now. So the name is a different thing. You want to make sure that you have a trust for a myriad of reasons. But the reasons why we did it was exactly like I described. Something happens to Ashley and me. We have guardians over the kids. They can push the entire portfolio to somebody else. My agent can sell it all off and put all the proceeds in there, or it can go to a property management firm where we keep everything and then they just basically bill. And then we have somebody that would be a paid overseer of that. But going through probate, having had multiple members in my family pass, going through the probate process can be a nightmare. A bank took 4 years to finish off their paperwork because they were too busy collecting fees. They had no interest in letting go of that portfolio at all. They're busy collecting fees. So it made it very, very difficult because it was like, and we know it doesn't take this long. We were squeaky wheel. We're like, we know it doesn't take this long. This is a bunch of, bullshit. Like, let's go, people. This doesn't take this long. And so we ended up finally getting it done, which is good. Thankfully, we got it done. Phil Nealon, exactly, Matt. The shark bites are cool. Yep. But they are just a simple quick fix and very temporary. Absolutely. Yeah. The Pro Press machine, so again, I share everything with you guys. That's a $2,300-$2,400 machine if you buy it brand new off of Home Depot. However, you can find them on Amazon. But the better place is eBay, and you can find them for a deal for $1,000, $1,200, $1,300. You can buy a box of the fittings that you would need for usually it's $3 to $4 a fitting, right around there. But I'm telling you, if you have an emergency, literally do the math. If you have an emergency, you got to call a plumber and you're a local and you're a self-managing landlord, it's going to cost you $200 to get a plumber out there to fix it. How fast can they get out there? And when does that usually happen? It doesn't usually happen when it doesn't happen to anybody else. It's usually happening in a -37 or -47 wind chill like we had last weekend. Guess what? Because we had the tool, because we had a relationship with plumbers, we had no one that didn't have water for anything more than 6 hours. 6 hours. I talked to people 3 and 4 days later. They were like, dude, I'm still waiting for my turn in line. Like, he's like, I had to put the tenant up in a hotel. I was like, now look at that. 150, 175 bucks a night times 3. See how quickly that tool pays for itself. Now, again, not pushing that tool on you guys. That's just the way that I viewed it. And yeah, I have a ton of rentals. I should have bought that tool 3 years ago. That was my mistake. Peter Navarro III. What's up? What's up, Peter? Good to have you here, my man. Robert Farinelli, didn't even advertise off-market deals with free staters. Yeah. Yep. Infamous NYC will do. Cool. Yeah. Take a look at that video. Ask questions. I still get notified every time somebody asks a question on my videos. And most of the time I can get to it and answer it. Sometimes I can't. Basically, the hierarchy is everything and everyone in the course first. And then after all that stuff is done, then follow up on other stuff. Why do you choose a revocable trust versus an irrevocable trust? I can't remember. I know that attorney that built my trust is going to be in my course. She's actually going to come on. She's going to be in the course. She's going to sit there and answer questions for people for an hour. And not charge you $300 or $350. I don't remember why we chose a revocable trust. I don't remember. Speak up. Can't hear over the power washer. Rob, you need better earphones. Hey, Marina. That's some quality landlording. Thank you, Marina. Very good. Marina got her unit all rented out, right? You're all rented, all good to go. I love it. Good for you. Man, it's almost like the Lumberjack is smart. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. You do something for 20 plus years, it might feel to others that you're smart. It's just you've had a lot of bad experiences that you made through. Yes, sir. The trust is still intact. Okay, cool. Yeah, probate, no good. No, probate was a nightmare. I've done it twice. One times there was some financial pieces in it. 4.5 years. 4.5 years. It was embarrassing. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. On the other hand, trust structures are a really, really good idea when established and written thoroughly. Yep. And with good trustees. Yes. Art T. Matt, do you put garbage disposal? Nope. No. Heard other landlords say it's not worth the hassle. Yet when there's a clog, do you charge the tenant back? Yes, I do. It depends on what the clog is. So up here in the Northeast, I'm not going to hold somebody. Because we will go in and we'll auger it. We'll clean through it, right? We'll see what it was that clogged it. If it's going to get gross, guys. Sorry, way it goes. If it's a tampon, if it is flushable wipes, it is some sort of a foreign object, i.e. not human created, then yeah, they get charged. Especially if it's a second time. I have 2 people right now on notice. 2. Next one's on them. And I said, it's $700. So I would make sure with militant precision that you do not have that issue again. So that's a great question. I don't put garbage disposals in there because too often people think that everything can be crushed up by a garbage disposal. Not banana peels, not celery, not a bunch of things. And then you almost always end up with a clog. And it's because they also don't know that after you garbage disposal it, that you really should, as you're doing it, run the hot water or even plug it and fill up the water and then have that water, and have, inches of water from the sink go down and then push whatever matter was left behind. People just don't know how to use them properly. And so because of that, I don't put them in there. Phil Nealon, that tool, same as the snake, new owners, seriously, check out Matt's link. Yeah, thanks, Phil. Yeah, guys, that's the stuff that there's not much, there aren't many tools that you can do without. I mean, there aren't many tools that you have to have. There are many you can do without. That's one that you cannot do without. If you're going to be a landlord, that is by far to me, because every year we acquire a number of new buildings. So every year when it's my first winter with a building, I always have a broken pipe or 2. Every single time, if I use that, I'd be $10,000, $15,000 ahead on my plumber because I wouldn't have to have him call. And he's a great guy, but I don't want to have to call him and bring him out to do that. I don't want to do that. If it's something where I can see the exposed pipe, it was next to a window and, somebody opened up the window at one point and left it slightly cracked. And so the cold air was just blowing on that thing and that thing froze. Well, yeah, like at that point, it's very, very simple. I can heat that thing up and hope it works, but then it's almost always a burst there. Then if I can cut that out literally cut it out in less than a minute, and I can crimp in a new piece in less than 5, guys, like, what are we even talking about here? Especially again, if you're going to self-manage and you're going to grow. But if you guys want me to do a video on that, I'll do a video on that. I'll show you exactly how it works. We can put that actually in the course, or we can even probably put that on the channel if you guys want to see that. It's in the works. So excited. Haha. Lumberjack's ad formula is magic. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So the ad formula that Marina's talking about is, she's taken the course or many parts of the course. That is very specific to how to write your ads. And that's why I get 5 times the amount of traffic anybody else does. And in the ad game, it's all about traffic. You let the quality sift itself out, but I'd rather be picking from 50 people than picking from 5, or picking from, in our cases, 300. Because again, if they answer back, even if it's just the ones where you're looking at it and like, nope, they didn't give us the 3 things we want. Nope, they didn't give us the 3 things we wanted. We asked for something up front. And so if they can't even listen to that instruction, guess how good they're going to be listening to instruction once they've moved into the place? Usually not very good. Let's see. I highly recommend a private trust over a statutory trust. Yeah, so we have a revocable trust. I think it's revocable trust. Marie, as a former renter and hopefully a landlord sometime in the next few years, good for you, would want a single and older person, no couples or kids or students, hopefully apply, clean person, and would not shy away from someone on SSDI. So never put that in an ad, just so you know, that'll get you in a lot of trouble. But I'm sure you probably already know that. But yeah, you're doing the right thing, Marie. Skill up, listen to landlords talk, start to get the vocabulary, see and learn their processes, and then you'll create your own processes over time. So you're doing the right thing. If you want to do this a couple of years from now, you're doing the right thing. Getting educated now is very, very smart, and do as much educating as you can for free. For then when you want to go a mile deep and a mile wide and make sure that you're getting from good to great and great to amazing and amazing to elite, then you start looking at people that have portfolios of size where they can then teach you things, because all a portfolio of size means is that I've had that many more chances to screw up. And so I've seen that many more things. That's really all it is. It's not, so people that have, 50 units and got them in the last 6 months, they don't have a lot to teach you, except for how you get 50 units in 6 months. The big thing is, trending over time, adding more deals, seeing behaviors, managing tenants, managing processes. That's the best way I can say to do it. So well done for you. Art, don't add, remove if they break. Exactly. Angel R, exactly. Great advice. Yeah. If you have a garbage disposal there and it breaks, take it out, repipe it. Ninja Vanish 24/7 revocable trust, so you can make changes while alive. Crap, I knew that was one of the reasons. Thank you, Ninja Vanish 24/7. He's correct. And also good morning. Good morning to you, sir. Leela, plumbing clogs, I could charge, but would never get tenants to pay fix. Yes, but if it's in your lease that they pay for that fix, you can take it out of their deposit when they leave. So that's what I'm saying. All-nighter pro tip: if your garbage disposal isn't running, there is a little red reset button on the bottom. Yes, always run a disposal with water running. Yes, yes, and yes, absolutely. Alan Pickering, good to have you, Alan Pickering. Are you raising existing unit rents this year? Yes. If so, how much? Depends. Sorry if this was asked, answered already. Totally fine. If it were, I would reference it and send you back there, but it wasn't. And so it really ranges. So we just had a unit that we rented out. We finished that building in 2019. The first time we rented it out, it was 13 or 1400. We rented it out. That was 2019 into 2020, 2020, we rented for 1500. Nope. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. 2020 was 1500. 21, because of what was going on in the world, we kept it the same, 1500. And then in 22, we raised it to, they said, hey, it was 2 roommates. They said, hey, we're both going our separate ways. One of us would like to stay here. I said, no problem. It's $1,500 is what the rent is. They said, so we'd like to renew and sign a lease. I said, absolutely, would love to have you. However, the rent is now $2,200, $700 a month more expensive. That's what the market shifted to. And that was still cheap. I could still get more for it because it was a brand new unit, beautifully done. Or not brand new building, but brand new unit. Everything was gutted and redone, flooring and cabinets and granite and butcher block and new appliances, and everything was done. And we posted it and it rented out. And here's one of the things: when you take pride in your units and you do a good job and you care about curating the experience, which is something I teach in the course, when you care about curating the experience, guess what happened? Even in the middle of winter, that thing rented out in 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Now, we didn't have 100 people to choose from, but we had 3 really good ones, and we picked a great couple that we think that are going to be there for probably 3 to 5 years. And again, 2,200. So what I would tell you is we definitely have units that are going to go up. We definitely have some that are going to stay the same. But they would range anywhere from a 3% rise to a 40% rise, depending on the unit. Yep, for sure. Yeah, crazy, right? Dung Tai made an appearance. I love it. Dung Tai is a busy man. I always appreciate him making the time for this. I appreciate everybody making the time for this, but Dung Tai has 66 units, and I know how busy that makes somebody, and he's got bad property managers. Sorry, Dung Tai. But he's going to fix that. We're going to help him fix that. Phil Nealon. Oh yeah, that and the heat gun. Yeah, the heat guns are good. The only thing that I don't like about the heat guns is that if you use it on PEX, you better be careful, right? And so I know that like, you know, heat tape or I love heat tape and then encapsulating that. And yeah, there's a bunch of different things that we've done. But that's one of the things that scares me is heat guns on PEX. Yeah. Hey, Jay Aguilar. Good to have you here, my man. REI Stoners, morning all. How often do you raise rents on all your units? Hyder, and that's still a $50 call. Yeah, exactly. I raise them no more than once a year. Like we don't go to raise every year. It's usually every couple of years, and then when we do it, it's meaningful. Ooh. Hopefully I just didn't drop connection. It's possible. In your course, I heard something along the lines of offering tenants to quickly paint chips after they're done moving in. Would you please elaborate? Yes, I will. So the hallways, right? Common space. If you've got the common space in all the hallways and you're just about to let them move in, but the old tenant moved out and you have to paint it for the old tenant anyway, what sense does it make to paint it before the new tenant moves in? It makes no sense because you're going to have to repaint it anyway. And you might as well have them living there for a year, 2 years, 3 years with a brand new painted wall. So that's one of the things that we will do. If there's additional damage, like somebody puts a hole in the wall or something like that, we obviously don't charge it to the back tenant. We're moral people. But if it's a matter of painting it, yeah, absolutely. We will paint it after the tenant moves in, after they've moved all their stuff upstairs, after they've, put this mark and that mark and, a sweaty handprint and that sort of stuff when they're moving in. Yeah, we'll paint it after they move in because we got to paint it anyway. And we might as well do it after they move in. So they have a nice, clean hallway. And there you go. It makes sense now. Awesome. Very cool. Yes, Phil Nealon, advertise appropriately. Yeah. So Marie, there's a bunch of rules about fair housing, and those can get you in a lot of trouble. They have secret shoppers in most states where if they trip you up, you can be in for fines. So just make sure that when you do it, that you're making sure that you are being fair and equitable. It's good that you would look at potentially doing SSDI. One of the things I would tell you is I would be having a conversation with and doing workshops with Section 8 housing, because they will typically have a tenant that is on limited income and they take care of a lot of stuff, and it usually will help you out pretty well. Mad76, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. What are your thoughts on possibility of building a triplex with 10% private loan? Oishka. Pay it with bank loan as the first rental property. House hacking. I don't love it. And here's why. 10% is a crazy number. It's high. And the issue is you don't know when the time comes, will you be able to refi? It might be a debt to income issue. It might be a market issue. Rates might be 8.5%, which would still be an improvement. But if the numbers work, right, I would look at that. If the numbers work, it might be a consideration. For me, I'm very risk averse. When it comes to 10%, 10% money is a lot of money. What I would more likely do is I would talk to a bank about a construction loan. That is more likely what I would do. And then if you're talking to a bank about a construction loan, then you can talk potentially to the hard money guy about being the down payment of that loan. That way you're getting spreads. So let's say it's a construction loan at 6.5%. Let's say it's you're borrowing, and that's where you're getting 20% of your, or 80% of your money, or 70% of your money, and then 20% of your money, you coming in for 10 maybe, but then getting 20% of your money from a hard money guy at 10%. I would try and triage it like that and have as little exposure to 10-point money and as much exposure to fixed price debt as I possibly could. You can find banks that will do those types of construction deals. Don't tell them that you're borrowing the money, because frankly, it's none of their business. If they ask it, don't lie. But if they don't ask it, then it's okay. Many of them, some of them care where you're getting the down payment from. Some of them don't care where you're getting the down payment from. But that's what I would do if I were looking at a deal like that, because maybe that was my only shot. And that's, again, being less conservative than I am. I would just make sure I'm structuring a deal where I get as much money for as little money as possible. So if I can get the construction loan built, a building to perm loan, if I can get that at 6.5 or 6.75, and then only take out 10% on 20% of the loan, that's likely what I would do. The question is will hard money do that? Hard money probably would, but they're in second position and you might pay more than 10%. But those are some of the things I would start. I like the idea generally, but that's what I would do is I would try and get more conservative on the bigger chunk of debt. Sorry, I missed a few of those. Dong Tai is in the house. I can definitely relate with that too. Too many units in a short amount of time. Guys, this is one of so you guys have heard it maybe on Multifamily Strategy or with Millennial Mike. My concept is acquisition, stabilization, optimization. And then Cody and Christian from Multifamily Strategy added debt hammer. For me, I don't want to pay down cheap debt. I want to pay down variable rate debt and I want to pay down expensive debt. So I would much rather pay down variable rate debt because I don't know what it's going to be and I don't know how it's going to upset the apple cart in 3 years or 5 years. I never take out 3-year debt, but let's say it's 5-year debt or 7-year debt. I much rather spend time paying down variable rate debt. We have some variable rate debt coming due in 2024, but it is 5% of the portfolio. So it's a who cares, so what? If it runs up high, they're lower balances, they're older, they're seasoned properties. It is what it is. But if you always look at your portfolio as acquisition, stabilization, optimization, the debt hammer is really a personal thing. But those 3 steps will make sure that you're getting the most out of every asset and that you're always working towards that goal. Phil Nealon, heck yeah, I just got a new Section 8 tenant with a $400 increase. She cried so hard when my guy and I helped her move in. You're doing the right thing, Phil. Those are the kind of landlords that we want to be. That is one of the parts of becoming elite. It's not just running a great business. It's recognizing that it's your business. It's your business. You're in charge. No one should treat your business like it's theirs unless they are part owner. It's just that simple. Why was I out last weekend for 37 out of 60 hours? Or no, 50 hours. Why was I out for 37 out of 50 hours? Because it was my business. I was grateful for the trades guys that were there with me. Grateful. I bonused them all and I bonused them heavily. I bonused them because it meant something to me personally that I could count on them. But I want to be in the trenches there too, helping speed things up, helping get things done faster, and the tenant seeing that because it's the right thing for us to do. It's our business. This is a service business. It's our job to take care of that. That's the way I feel about it. Angel R, in your course, yep, I already elaborated on that. Heat gun for exterior window cellophane, yes. Tape for the winter, yes, absolutely. Angel R, that made sense now. Good. Thanks, Mad. Yeah, great question. David and Dave, he's back. No, we're not going to start over. You can listen to me on 2X mode. I haven't done my best chipmunk impression yet today. Phil Nealon, man, if I took Matt that long to think about it, move on. I think so, Phil, I appreciate you reading into that. I think that, yeah, it's a risky deal, right? It's a risky deal, but I get people putting themselves out there to have a level of risk to do something that's never been done before, like for them in their lives. The only thing I can ever do in that particular case, because I'm not in their shoes and I don't know what they're living through right now, not doing it, the only thing I can do is just give them perspective of these are the areas that you want to make sure that you're watching out for. Because those are the ones that can get you and sink you and sting and stick. Marie, yeah, thanks everyone. Definitely going to follow laws. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I knew you would. Those laws are something in the first few years I was landlording, I didn't really know a lot about. And I could have got, and thankfully I didn't. And it wasn't outrageous stuff that I would put in ads, but I would literally, it could have been perceived as such, because I was definitely targeting students. But now we've changed that to a more socially acceptable way of doing things. And yes, my hair is a whole lot shorter. Thank you to Sarah. Appreciate her very much. Angel R, who is your ideal tenant? Couple, students, roommates? That's a good. Not couples. Student roommates. I won't cheat, but that's kind of cheating. It's really both. It's student roommates. So it's people that were friends together. They got a place together. I know that they're only going to be there 2 or 3 years. 2 years in a minimum. Kind of, I think we've had a few go 7 and 8 years, but for the most part, it's going to be 3-4 years max. However, with the return on capital I'm getting on that deal, the rollover doesn't hurt that bad. And again, if they did damage, it's never been students. It's never been more student/roommates. It's never been more than a deposit. The deposit on most of those places is, $2,500 to $3,500. It's never been more than that. So it takes time, but it's never been more than that financially. Good question. Ooh. Yeah, find a guy who can do 201ks. Yeah, for sure. You mean 203ks? 203s? I think it's two. I think you're talking about 203s, maybe. Great answer, Lumberjack. Thank you. Appreciate that. All-nighter harder. Legal tip. Laws as proposed have yet to be interpreted. Laws are written in your states. Annotated statutes are laws that have been applied and interpreted. Those are the real laws. Yep. And can be found in your local law library. So Hyder's exactly right. And you don't want to have to necessarily become a law expert, but here's the least expensive way, truly. The least expensive way, right? You get really nervous. This is one of the things I teach in my course. I give a lot more detail, but here's kind of the overarching piece. You can get a free legal education just by sitting in the law room, sitting in the courtroom on the day that they do evictions. Just sit there and listen. You'll see who the rock star attorneys are. You'll hear the pathetic stories from landlords. You'll hear the pathetic stories from tenants. You'll see the judge, no matter how much he or she tries to not roll their eyes. Some of them still will. Some judges are hammers on landlords. Some judges are hammers on tenants. And I hear plenty of stupid, but that's a free education. But the thing that I teach in the course is all the things that you should be documenting to make sure that you don't lose when it comes to that court day. But you should put yourself in a position where you go and get a little bit of experience. Usually it's, you can just ask the clerk in the courthouse and just say, hey, where are the eviction tenant landlord hearings heard? And what days are those heard on? And she might say, oh, it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays. Okay, cool. From what time to what time? That's, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Go sit and listen. Do yourself a favor. It's It can be enjoyable. Phil Nealon, same for my guy. Yep. Taking down beetle kill trees with him. Yep. And donating the wood to family's house here that needed heat. That's awesome. Angel, where does Lumberjack get all his energy? You don't drink coffee or liquor. No, I don't. I'm passionate. I love what I do. I love what I do. I really do. I really like spending time with you guys and sharing this. I was distraught a number of times as a beginning landlord. I had no mentors. I had no one I could call with problems. I had no one I could call and get clearance, ideas from. There were no such thing as meetups. I mean, I was doing this back in 2001, 2002. It was really, really hard. And for me, I know that I handle things, I handle things with a personality and just because it's usually not the end, 99.9 times out of 100, it's not the end of the world. Worse things could happen. And I promise you, if it's a big problem, if you feel like it's a big problem, just take it in stride. Take it in stride. The big thing is that one of the things I always say to people is you can't guarantee that you won't get sued. You can't guarantee that, but that's why I have insurance. That's why I have a few attorneys to choose from. And so the risk of getting sued is much less daunting because I know that I have an attorney that is a jackhammer. So, I mean, like if someone wants to go a few rounds, and somebody just did, they cost me $2,000 or $3,000 going a few rounds that they didn't have any right to go after. Well, now I've got a lawsuit pending against them. You took your shot, you missed, and now I'm coming back for you in the courts. Wish it was worth it. You should have listened. We tried to be nice and you didn't want to do nice. So now we do to the extent of the law. That's what we'll do now. Let's see. Phil Nealon. Yeah, you're right. Yep. What's up, guys? Yeah. Wandering Doc still streaming. All-nighter hider. Yes, Matt. I spend nerdy time watching people's cases. Yep. Some of them are entertaining. They are. Some of them really are entertaining. You're just like, what would make you think that? Richard Gamino. Wow. Thanks for that court info. Never knew. Yeah, totally. Go there and you can see the guy's style that you like. That's how I found my favorite courtroom attorney. He is awesome. I would not want to argue against him. Not like buddies arguing, but in a courtroom. I wouldn't want to argue against him. He is smooth like butter. He is awesome. And I love watching him. So when a tenant says to me, hey, go, you know what yourself, I'm not paying, I get to make that phone call with giddy glee. Sean, how's it going? Good, Matt, what's up? So I have a situation. Okay. Email me the details. I'll let you know. Awesome. And if Robert Farinelli's still here, he knows Sean. I sent him to Sean. He is a killer. I would not, and I know landlord law pretty well. This guy is amazing. And I've asked him to participate in the course because he is hugely entertaining and he's actually a Mensa member too. He'll never say that to you. He's actually a Mensa member. And usually you can tell, but he is spectacular, spectacular. I signed up for the ORAC course, lots of learning. Yep. Can't wait to get my first rental under my belt. That's awesome, BDSWG. That's awesome. Yeah. It's a good course. It will definitely help you out a ton. And then that will kind of get you started. And that's why I built my course, which is, okay, now you own it. How do you manage it for the next 20 years? You know, making it profitable, doing the repairs that you should, recognizing things in inspection, things like that. Really, really hands-on is the stuff that I do. So yeah, one rental at a time, fantastic start in understanding how to buy. Perfect. I heard LL has 9 attorneys. I do have 9. And that wasn't because I feel like I need 9. That was because over doing this for 20 years, I've worked with people and I realized that I have really good ones for certain things. So I have one person that's really good with trusts and LLCs. I have another one that's really good with land approval and variance exceptions. I have one that is amazing in court. I have another one who is good, really good in court. I have another one who's good in court, but he's very, very good when it comes to the paperwork and processing of things. Very, very good. I have another one that's an actual litigator that would be anything outside of, like kind of landlord tenant stuff, if you will. I have another one who is a closing attorney. She does almost all of my closings because she has amazing attention to detail. We get to talk shop when she comes over. She literally comes to my house to do our closings. My kids love her. We love her. She's amazing. Tanya's absolutely fantastic. And she works closely, has a great relationship with our bank. We have another attorney that actually deals more in warning letters. He's much less expensive. So getting him to put together a warning letter and a template from that is usually pretty cheap. And so that's what we use him for. I think that's 8, if I remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I think that's 8. And then we have one that's just kind of like general practice that I just will pick up the phone and call. And that's the person that's on retainer that I'll ask them those questions. But yeah, that's the 9. So we can kind of pull from any of those that we want when the time is right. Let's see. Was cooking salsa, turned out way too spicy and garlicly. Hits you hard, wandering dog. Nice. Phil Nealing, great strategy. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'm telling you, it works great. I knew immediately who my attorney was going to be. All-nighter hider, garlic should always hit hard. I know, true, right? Dung Tai. All right, take it easy, folks. Looking forward to boot camp. Looking forward to it as well. Dung Tai. Again, guys, for the boot camp, I apologize to you guys. We had gone through this with the vendor. Everything was set up. Everything was good. We thought we had tested everything. And then when it came time to emailing you guys and getting it set up, it's been a week and a half of bullshit. So we have a comment. We have a call tomorrow, a conference call tomorrow with the vendor to say it can't be this hard. This is an issue. And so fix it or F off. And then we'll just transition to something else. We've already got another option. If these guys can't pull their heads out of their whats. Let's see. Thanks for hanging with us, Dung Tai. I agree. Phil Nealon. Another fun thing, once you have a little scratch, pay the retainer for every attorney in town. Think about it, client attorney privilege. So Phil, that's true. And almost all of my attorneys are around. However, here's what I will tell you. That is a great strategy when you're getting divorced. That is a horrible strategy against tenants. And here's why. Tenants can't pay the rent. I promise you it's not because I can promise you it's almost always because they don't have the money. When you're renting out a $5,000 a month rental, yes, that person probably has an attorney. When you're renting out a 5-bedroom, 2-bath for $3,000 to college kids, they don't have an attorney. So here's what they do have. They have legal aid. They have things like that. And there are some good attorneys with those agencies. However, I ask around and say, okay, this is who the attorney is on this case. And I call my different attorneys and say, do you know this person? And they're like, no, but I know her boss. Or yes, I know her. The reason I say her is because we just dealt with one and she was an a-hole to the 10th degree. And so she doesn't understand, but she gave us no option other than to follow through. I had nothing to gain by not following through. They gave me nothing. So, okay, we'll follow through. That's fine. And it might come across like we're litigious. We are not. We have been in a courtroom not very many times, less than 10 times, maybe more than 10 times, but over 20 years. So we're not there that often, but we're just not afraid. We're not going to be bullied. We're not going to be bullied. We're going to fight for what's right because I can afford it and the next landlord might not be able to. So if you're going to be a jerk to me, you'll be a jerk to them. And if you're a bully to me, you'll be a bully to them. And so I just need to make sure to get you some bully sauce. Because I'm not going to let you do that to the next person. That's usually what happens there.
Courthouses are public property, but I get some funny looks as just a spectator. I embrace that like a brother. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I don't mind. I'll sit there. It's kind of fun, actually. Sean is the man. I could tell when I talk to him, he has a passion. Sean is the man. He's legit. He is legit. Got to watch out for those quiet Mensa members. Yeah, it's so true. So true. He teased me about taking the exam. I said, I know factually that I don't make it. It's you got to have a 160 IQ to get in, and mine's not 160. I am short of 160. I'm up there, but I'm short of 160. Ironwood Workman, Lumberjack, just checking in. By the way, I think my region here is going to take off a little bit. They're building steel mills now. Oh, damn. Those are good jobs. Those are good jobs, and they need affordable housing. Wow. Matt doesn't just have a panel of attorneys. He's got the firm. And that's the secret too, is most of them are individuals. So that's a big thing. It's a big thing for me. Yep. I removed the garbage disposal from my duplex. Good job, Laura. I agree with that. Nisi. Hey, Nisi Ellison. Good morning. It's been forever. Good to see you. All-nighter hire. Ireland. Yep. Even in large towns, just get the best few. It's true. Wandering Doc. Some states have closing attorneys and some escrow. Yep. I've never dealt with a closing attorney. Always had escrows only. Interesting. So our state, you can do it all. And so she's an attorney and a closing company. So she can actually do it all. It's great. Look for that. It saves you in fees. BSWG, I'll have to check yours out for sure then. Lumberjack Landlord. Yeah, definitely. Defiantly or definitely going for the triplex route just because numbers make way more sense, because I'll be holding for a long time in I'm 28 at the moment. Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's great. I think the best money made is either usually in building, if you can get the commensurate rents with it being a more expensive or newer building. And number two is in value add. Buying turnkey, it equals narrow margin, and that's not to poo-poo turnkey. If you're buying remote, turnkey works. You can like turnkey. There's nothing wrong with that, but your margins are going to be much less. Fact. Period. End of story. Every single time, without a doubt. Your margins will be much less if you buy turnkey because somebody else went and did all the work. And all you're doing is signing on the line, which is fine. Plenty of people have built their, built their, their empire that way. But I'm not concerned about the number of doors I have. I'm concerned about the margin that I make on each of those doors. That's what I'm focused on. When you call an attorney, Invest to Wealth, when you call an attorney, do they charge you? Oh yeah, they do. Yes, they'll charge me. I'll be like, okay, 15-minute clock. So I know that call is going to cost me $100. Is what it is. It's information I got to know to protect my business. Let's see. Yeah, love it. Hyder. Yep, love it. Yeah, keep us posted, BSWG. Monica Galdamez. I'm in California. Most of the attorneys that I called said we are not doing evictions for non-payment because the moratorium got extended. Yep. I can't believe attorneys can't help here. Yeah, they can't because the law says they can't. It's unbelievable. That is completely, yeah, I based on that alone, I would never own in California. It's just, that's completely foreign to me that we are overriding a contract agreed to by two parties. It blows my mind. Do you approve Wago connectors? I think so. Yes. I'm just going to look it up real quick. Pretty sure. Yes. Yes. Yep. Yep. We used them. Yep. We've used them for sure. Good question. Phil Nealon, OMG. Thanks for that, LJL. Yeah, you're welcome. Guess it's why I try to do you, Dion, and treat tenants right, but not be bullied. Yeah, there's a fine line, guys. And that's the thing, is some people are just real jerkwads. And it's like, it's completely inappropriate to say. So I know people are going to drop off when I say it. But if somebody is bowing up on me and getting like aggressive towards me, I just let them know, listen, it's so awful for me to say, don't try and outdick me. Like some, and that applies to guys and girls. Like they try to be like this huge member, right? And try and bully you. Listen, don't outdick me. Like try not to, like, stop. We're not doing this. Not doing this. Here's what I'm going to tell you. This isn't a threat. This is a promise. You'll be getting a letter from my attorney on Tuesday, period. End of story. And how you handle yourself from here on out is going to be whether or not you get to stay. And if you don't want to stay, that's just fine. Not a problem. Because I've got the staff to take care of an eviction if that's where we have to go here. And surprisingly, many back down. A couple haven't, but it's the way it goes. All right, listeners, this live is my Super Bowl map. We have a halftime show. No halftime show, but more importantly for all of you, no wardrobe malfunction. So good for you guys. Ironwood Workman, REI. Yeah, I know, right? Mrs. Nealon, halftime show. Phil Nealon, Mrs. Lumberjack. Sorry, Phil Nealon, halftime show that Mr. and Mrs. Lumberjack makes a Thursday show again. I know. I'm hoping so. We just had to, as you guys know, for those of you who don't, my daughter was diagnosed with cancer in the end of 2021, 2022. She was in treatment until August. We're very blessed and excited to tell you that she still is cancer free. After all of her treatment, which is an absolute miracle because she was given an 8% chance to live 4 months. But I will tell you that, we kind of took the opportunity to kind of take a breath because that was just 4 months ago. So we had to get our oldest two in school, 5 and 3. We had to get both or 4 at the time and 3 at the time. We had to both get them in school. Now my son's 5. But we got them in school, got them starting a little life of normalcy. And thankfully we've continued that trend into this year. But yes, Mrs. Lumberjack is all about, we talked about it, I think maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. She's all about doing it again. Anna Kay, is there a podcast that shows step-by-step how to refinance numbers to work? Just like a deep dive for running numbers for ROI. I'm having a hard time grasp how the finance works. Hi, Assad, Nakvi. I hope I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. It is amazing, BSWG. Yeah, many prayers of thanks for your daughter. Yes, we are unbelievably grateful. I post pictures of her more than the other kids on my Instagram. I love all my kids, but my daughter Eliana has been through it. She didn't have hair for until she was a year and a half, 20 months old. She didn't have hair. Chemo stunts your teeth coming in. So she had 2 teeth until she was about 18 or 19 months old. And then she got like 9 all at once. But yeah, it was a horrible journey, but we were blessed. We had each other. We were in quarantine in the home for a year. So yeah, it was horrible. It was absolutely, in fact, I think I can show a picture. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, this is what she looked like right when she finished treatment. Is that, oh no, that's not good. There we go. That's better. Here, I know, we'll do this. That focus is better. There you go, pop. So yeah, she didn't have any hair for a long time. Now she's got teeth, hair, and an amazing set of lungs. She's awesome. So yeah, that was our journey. It was a long road. Ashley spent half of the nights for 10 or 11 months in the hospital while I stayed at home, managed our business, worked a full-time job, and raised our other 2 kids, and couldn't go out we couldn't go into a store, couldn't go into a restaurant. All we could do is go for a drive in the car. And so my kids would actually go with me and drive for dollars and leave notes on doors. And so it was a horrible thing to go through, but an amazing experience. We are super blessed. So yeah, it really is. It was, I'll see if I have there's one other picture that I had of her that was awesome. Yeah. This was her. She likes to get dressed up like a knight. So yeah, that's her. So yeah, she's got hair now. I think I have one of her having hair. But yeah, oh yeah, here's all my kids. You can tell my son's about to do something he shouldn't be doing. But yeah, that's all my kids. That's Samuel over here, and then Eliana, and then my daughter Bryn. Yeah, it was quite a journey, but super, super excited to have gone through it, or made it through it, and still have our daughter. So yeah, she was, the one funny thing is you sit there with the doctors and we say, what's next? They're like, we don't know. We're like, oh, what's next? They're like, we don't know. We're like, well, we got to know something. They're like, no, we don't know anything. We're like, how can you not know anything? They're like, no one ever lives this long with that cancer. 25 kids a year get diagnosed with the cancer that she had, 25 a year. And 8% of them make it 4 months, only 8%. So we are immensely blessed, immensely blessed. So that's why it's like when somebody gives me a hard time, I just block them or whatever, tell them off. I just don't, whatever, figure it out. Let's see. Tom Kine for a ribbon to place in her hair. Thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's we're super super blessed. In fact, might even be able to get her to come down. Let's see if she's taking a nap. If she's taking a nap, we won't wake her, but is asleep. We haven't done a video of her since we really wanted to, but then every single time we were like, oh, her test results are next week. So that's why for a family, we took my longest vacation I've ever had in my career. That's why I went to Vegas, was because I'd never taken a vacation with my kids. Samuel was 1.5 years when the pandemic happened. Bryn was basically born during the pandemic. It was outrageous. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. Her favorite thing is Happy Meals. She's like, oh, yeah. But yeah, we were home. We were home for 10, almost 11 months. Ashley would be gone half the time. And that's where, in all honesty, guys, that's where, that was really where the course came from. Was because I wanted to help people that might go through the same thing I did, or many of the things would apply to you guys when trying to manage things remotely, like the insourcing thing. All the work that I did there, that was how I had to run my business. I couldn't quickly get somebody to come and help. It all happened so fast. She got diagnosed on Labor Day weekend. She got diagnosed. The Friday before Labor Day, she got diagnosed, and it was an emergency down to Boston. They were like, we got to get her in for surgery. She went in for surgery. A surgery that was supposed to take 2 hours took 5. And yeah, surgery that was supposed to take 2 hours took 5. And the doctor looked concerned. The surgeon looked concerned when he came in, because he's like, that was really hard. And we're like, that's why you're the best. And we were just immensely blessed to have the team that we had. He'd been a surgeon for 20 plus years, 25 years, and amazing, gifted. Everybody that knows him says, you got the best surgeon. All of us know him here. He's the best one. And he had to go in there and do things. So they had to take her kidney. She only has 1 kidney. They had to section her liver, so she has a smaller part of her liver left. She had a tumor on her ribs. She had a tumor on her sternum. So it was stage 4. And she was 5 months old. It was everywhere. And so the only thing that we could do was wait and pray. That's all we could do. And so, yeah, our lives completely transformed and changed. But at the end of the day, we still had to run our business. We still had to take care of our tenants. We still had to field phone calls and get things fixed. We still had to do all that stuff. And so I remember those days waking up at 6 a.m. with my kids and trying to have a day with them, and then having them, giving them an activity a little bit. That way I could work and do my job. And then spending time with them, and then work and do my job, and then spending time with them, and then making them dinner, and putting them to bed, and then going and then working, and then doing my real estate stuff. And so I can tell you honestly, this is way easier. This is so way easier. So the course, really, a lot of it came from that, because we had to completely change some of the things that we were doing in order to just manage the business. And so that helped us. That adversity helped us take another step forward. But the property management insourcing piece, I've now been doing for 2 years, and it saved me, saved our business, and made us much more profitable. And it's just been a total game changer. Yeah. So, but yeah, that insourcing section of the course is so good. It's helping me take care of tenants well and get wealthy as they say thank you with the dollars. Yeah, that's good. That's what I want to see, guys. It's completely birthed of something that was complete life tragedy. And it's something that I know so many will gain so much impact and value from it. There is no doubt in my mind that it will save you 10x that easily as you build your businesses. It was the worst thing. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, because I remember what every day was, every day. And then you'd realize sometimes your 4-year-old tells you, Dad, it's like, what? You stink. Dude, I want to take a shower. I just can't take a shower because I can't leave you guys alone long enough. Oh, yeah. But it was a huge blessing. It was really a huge blessing for us to be able to go through that. So I think Angel's asked a number of times, why is my attitude so positive? Bro, this is why. I get to keep my daughter. My daughter lived. And so many go through the same hardship and work, and theirs don't. And this is landlording. Like, this is the way that we set ourselves up financially for the rest of our lives. But it's not life or death. It just isn't. And when you've lived life or death, and when you've stared at life or death in the face every single day for 10 months, where she goes in every 3 months for a CAT scan, an MRI, and a CT bone scan, heavy palpation, goes through it all. And that's in one day. And she has to go under anesthesia every time she does it. And we're like, don't you guys care about the anesthesia thing? She's like, what can we do? We have to have her under to do this. So yeah, 23 days, no shower in a fishing boat. Yeah. Awesome misery. I know it's kind of nice, but just like, what is that smell? I just moved and I smelled myself. That is awful. So I understand that, but yeah, guys, we do this because we want to create a future for our family. We do this because it is important for us to be productive, and we all want to provide a service as landlords to tenants. We all want to do a good job of doing it. That's what the course was birthed from. But that's why for a year and a half, everything that I'd gone through was building that course. It was, and it wasn't, I wasn't building the course. It was all of the stories, all of the things, all of the experiences, all of the things where it was like, man, that would have really helped me had I known that 20 years ago. That's where kind of it all came from. So yeah, I'm thrilled to have you guys along for the ride. As you can imagine, I'm super frustrated about the boot camp thing because I'm so raring to go. But we'll have answers on that thing tomorrow. I greatly appreciate you guys. I greatly appreciate all your thoughts and prayers for my family. My older two, you can only imagine. Yeah, you can only imagine my son had started school and we had to pull him out because my daughter would have low white counts. And so he couldn't go to school and get sick. And so if they had brought home just the simplest of bugs, which we know schools for kids are petri dishes, she could have died. And so sadly, after 2 days of school, we had to pull him out. And it was an amazing, amazing time spending, 100 and something days alone with my kids, trying to do my job, trying to manage the properties, trying to obviously talk to Ashley multiple times a day and see my daughter. There are just things that, when you see that, when you go through that, it's just something that you would never, ever, ever wish on anybody. And the vacation that we got to have out in Las Vegas together, for a couple of weeks was really, truly for us, it was really second to none, because it was really us coming back from a thing. And that's why all summer long we spent, doing yard sales and things like that together, because we could be outside and we were allowed to do that stuff. But yeah, it was just through the kids getting sick and then Eliana not being able to come home because the kids were sick, so she'd have to stay in the hospital a little bit longer. Yeah, it was a year. It was a year. But yeah, I've got one other picture I'll show you guys too. So whenever you have one of those days, whenever you're going through it and trying to make the very best of what you're working on, what I can tell you is there are far more important things. And so we do this for our families. We do this sometimes for fun because we're a little bit whacked and touched in the head. But just remember why we're doing this. Okay. She said, Beans asleep. So that's it. Beans asleep. So where is it? But we do this for our families, and we do this to make the situation better. And I think where is it? My wife. We vacuumed, so I couldn't hear my phone. It's all right. No big deal. So I would encourage you guys, enjoy the journey. Don't take it too seriously. It is what it is. And we had that tenant trash out too. Oh my goodness. I'm looking at my phone. Yeah, I'll have that picture for you guys next time where I can show you exactly what she looked like when she got out of surgery. That's enough to take a dad's breath away for sure. It was hard. But oh, here we go. I think I found it. Yeah, we'll try and show that to you guys. Yeah, here we go. So that's what my daughter looked like when she came out of surgery. She has a 10-inch scar on her stomach, and they had to put a port in her chest to deliver her medicine. So anyway, enough of that. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. REI Stoners, I feel the pain. My wife has epilepsy. Yep, we went through years of violent seizures where we thought she could die at any given day. Yeah, I love your story. Back at you, my friend. I know what that's like, having those health events where you just, what can you do? You just can take the next day and you just do your best the next day. Tom Kine, after my son was born, my wife, now ex, blew her gallbladder. Yeah, and in the hospital, and had a 5-year-old, 2-year-old, and a newborn. OMG, I had no sleep or anything, and packed up 2X a day. You had to go breastfeed at the hospital. Oh, yeah. That was the thing. That's why it was tough. Ashley had to go with Eliana because she was breastfeeding. And so my only option was the other kids. And so you feel kind of helpless because you're not able to go help. But yeah, it's crazy. A few days later, her mother flew in to help. Thank God. Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah. And that was the other crazy thing too, is it was a long time. It was a long. On that header, my son was born with his liver hanging out of his abdominal cavity. Oh my goodness. He's all good now at 14 years young. Good for him. Phil Nealon, ice damming be damned. The reason is why we do this. Yeah. Capital gains on 25-year-old rental was hard. Yeah. BSWG 100%. My dad passing really opened my eyes to things. He just retired and passed less than a year later. I'm sorry to hear that. That's really hard. That's hard. Yeah. I mean, the most that you can do is enjoy your journey, pick something that you can make your own, and just enjoy it. And don't take these clowns seriously. Like, whatever, pound sand. I'm doing the work every single day. Am I going to be perfect? Nope. I'm going to make mistakes. Yep. But I'm progressing to a better me and to help out the situation. Yeah. I'm sorry for your dad passing, BSWG. Yeah. Especially a year later. Yeah. That's hard. That's really, really hard. It just, and I hear that because I've got guys that, retire 65, 67, and they retire from hard jobs. And I forget the numbers, but it's like 70% of them are dead within 5 years. So a lot of them just keep on working because they don't want that alternative. So I get it. Yeah. Tom Kine, thanks for sharing, Matt and everyone else also. Yeah, this is, guys, we're community. So we're friends. And this is what I would talk about with my friends because you guys were a part of it. You were a part of that journey, part of seeing it. And yeah, we're grateful for our miracle. Assad, my son needed a port at 8 months. Yep. Old. Yeah. It was a tough time. Yeah. My daughter had a port too. Then the little scar right here. And yeah, like the cleaning it, the flushing it. And we saw she got an infection one time, not in her port, but she was in the hospital with a fever for 9 days. It was the longest stay she had in the hospital, 9 days. And so I remember those 9 days, and that was some of the toughest 9 days of my life because you weren't sure if that was what took her out. Then having to, make sure the kids were taken care of and just live life. So yeah, I remember it very much. Shirt Lizard, thanks for another amazing show. Shirt Lizard, you're very welcome. Yeah, my pops was only 56. Yeah, my mom passed at 54 years old. Yep. Yeah, my mom passed at 54. And she passed when I was only 23, right when your parents are starting to get cool again, right? So we would finally start to have conversations, but she passed. And so that was tough, because you go through those kind of like teenage years where you're growing, they have their issues, and then you get into your early 20s and you're like, okay, we can kind of leave that stuff behind us. And for us, it was kind of forced more quickly leaving that stuff behind, but yeah, made it a challenge for sure. We are certainly all more alike than we thought. We all have a story, and my job and my goal is to make sure that as you guys are brave enough to venture into landlording, that I've given you the tools that I have, the support that I have, that I can, to help get you great at this, because I can tell you now, I would not, even last weekend, I would not change it. Wouldn't change it. I'm going to retire this year, and I'm going to do whatever I want the rest of my life with my family, and not, quite frankly, ever have to think about money. And I'll have to think about my business. Don't get me wrong. It's not that passive. But I won't ever have to think about money again, like really think about money. I remember what it was like working, eating from the dollar menu and not being able to afford anything, having to keep the heat in our house at 56 degrees. Having to take cold showers. Because we would literally shut off the hot water tank. We would only turn that on if we had a guest that came for like a night to stay with us. And so we would leave the hot water off. And so we would just take cold showers. But yeah, I remember it was hard. But yeah, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I hope you enjoy your week, enjoy the journey, enjoy learning. If you're in the course, thank you for being in the course. We'll get the boot camp thing worked out, but I'm excited that you're in the course. I hope it's as valuable as I believe it is. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. But guys, have a great week. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. And we'll talk again soon. Take care, everybody.